How's it? Welcome to another edition of Same Old AFC USA. Stan is showing his, what is this? The Dennis Bergkamp with the Tony Adams replaceable head or something?
Yes, it has the Tony Adams interchangeable head.
I keep seeing you tweet about this thing. I'm like, this thing's got to be a little creepy.
Like, I didn't go online and look for it. My mate found it in an old trunk, like in his attic or something. And just tongue in cheek, I said, "Do you want to sell it?" So he sort of sold it to me for $40. So I thought, I'll have some of that. So that's going to go in the den when I move into the new place.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So yeah. It's a bit old school.
That might be worth more than $40.
It's probably yeah. As long as it's like still original packaging, never been taken out or anything like that. It's so. But so Rohan, I assume, will be here any minute now. So Ryan, how are you?
Good. I actually heard that Rohan was dropping off a package in Turkey, I think he said. I don't know. Hopefully he's back on soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably a hell of a drive to Turkey in that.
I mean, they needed his limo with the Wi-Fi and the hot tub.
All the turn. It's got to be all wide turns, So,
yeah.
Apparently I'm having some connectivity issues, everyone in the chat. So if I have to duck out of here to reboot or anything else, I assume I'm coming through all right on your end, Stan.
Yeah,
Ryan, I'm good so far. All right, good. So Stan, how are you, my friend? Missed you last week.
I'm very well, my friend. I'm very well, and it's good to be back.
Good. So let's get the elephant in the room out of the way with. You know what? I am not overly concerned with the Mesut Ozil thing. I don't hate him the way a lot of Arsenal fans do. I don't love him the way a lot of Arsenal fans do. And that's probably let me ask a quick question before we really dive into this. Have the fans that have just stuck by him no matter what, is that what you think might drive some of the vitriol towards him?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, when you think about it, I mean, and there's nobody. I don't really know that there's anybody in my camp when it comes to Mesut Ozil, because I only see unadulterated hate or just unabashed love for Mesut Ozil. Like, there's no in between. And I feel like I'm in between. I don't hate him. I'm glad he's gone, because hopefully now the saga is over. It should be good for the club from a financial standpoint to get that wage off the books. Even if it ends up being we bought him out, we paid all of his wages till the end of the year up front to get him out of here, whatever the case may be. But it's good for the club. And as far as Ozil himself goes, okay, he's going to the club that he supposedly grew up rooting for, Fenerbahce in Turkey. And that's got to be, to a degree, a dream come true for a player to be able to go home, so to speak, and play for the club that he grew up rooting for. So good for him. I wish him nothing but the best in Turkey. And like I said, at the end of the day, I'm in a position, I'm in a boat where I have no ill will towards him. Go play your ass off in Turkey. All the best. And good riddance from this standpoint, from the Arsenal standpoint, because there he is. Like I said, it should be, at least financially anyway, it should be beneficial to the club. So, Ryan, do you want to add anything on the Mesut Ozil free transfer saga and the fact that he's supposedly is now gone, even though it's not actually, haven't heard any confirmation that it's actually, that it's actually done. I think we've all seen the pictures. So, but take it away.
So it's funny. My beer of the week was going to be, I thought it was called Modern Times, out the old and with the new. But then I'm looking at this beer while you're talking, and it's actually called the Misto. I think Modern Times is the brewing company, but which is fine because everyone says he's the maestro. But he's missing a few letters, just like this beer. It's the Misto, and I think that's what he reminds me of. He's the Misto, not the Maestro. And also, too, special. Got this as a gift for Christmas. Nice little pint, Arsenal glass. Poured in said glass. And you know what? I'll do that after, but just want to real quick unzip. I gotta finally retire this and put this to bed.
Can I just say real quick that is one of my favorite kits, by the way.
Yeah,
actually, that's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite shirts.
So I want to keep it quick because my relationship with this player has been long and tiresome and hard. Well, what I will say is, and I know many of you know, I was a big Ozil fan. He was part of the reason why I kind of took Arsenal long term and kind of really was like, I was a fan before him, but I feel like once Ozil signed, kind of sealed the deal where it's like, all right, like I'm marrying Arsenal. I'm all about it now. And over the years, the relationship got very strained. Zero communication. There may have been cheating involved. I don't know. But Ozil is like a toxic ex-girlfriend that you just can't get rid of. You want her out the door. You don't know what's going on, but you have all the friends in the background that really like her. Like, she's so cool. She's like one of the guys. Like, oh man, I can't believe you let that one go. And now I can finally be kind of like, see you later. Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. And I'm very happy, very excited that we can get rid of him. And I'm very excited that he's very excited, I guess, because deep down inside, I want nothing but the best for him. But he was a parasite and a virus to our club, and I'm beyond excited to get rid of him and hopefully get rid of a lot of this fan base that don't really root for Arsenal FC. They root for Ozil FC. So, yeah. Bye-bye, Mesut.
It's time to go.
There you go.
In the words of Claude. Rowan, good to see you, my friend. How are you?
As usual, thank you so much. Yeah, I was just wrapping up dinner. Sorry about that.
Hey, no worries, man. That comes first. Believe me.
We're all family here, so it's not like a malady, I know. So
yeah.
But we have news, right? I mean, in the sense that it's almost confirmed. It's as good as confirmed. He's put it out. We put it out. Like, we've seen pictures and stuff. So, I had said this last week. I think like you, I'm sort of in the middle of the road, right? Like, I'm happy to see him off the wages. I am happy that now we can finally get over this saga and beyond Ozil, who was not contributing on the pitch but draining a lot of resources. So I'm happy about that. But I'm kind of sad about the fact that, the legacy that he's left or the lack thereof, really, right? I felt like he signaled change at the Emirates that we were going big time, right? Like, for me, he was the bona fide superstar that we had signed. Before that, and I've been following since the Invincibles, and that since then we've sort of been in transition. We were moving to the Emirates, then we had moved to the Emirates, then so there were a lot of financial constraints. Before that, I think our record signing was at 16 million, which was Santi Cazorla, right? So, and we trebled that almost with Ozil, and that's, to me, signaled like we were going in the right direction. He had an explosive start. He's had great moments, but I think somewhere down the line, both parties have lost their way. Both of them have been very, very stubborn in their ways, and that's cost both of them valuable time and resources. I think there's more than what meets the eye. It's not just footballing reasons for me, but it's also there are people on the other side of the camp who portray Ozil as the savior and Ozil as the angel, but that's not the case as well. I read reports today that he's taken a £280,000 a week wage cut. He's at 62,000 when he goes there. You know, if he really wanted to play here, he could have contributed in that manner, but he chose not to, right? I mean, that's evidence for a broken relationship, clearly. So it's then you know, we support Arsenal Football Club. You know, Ozil will come and go, and every other player and manager will come and go, but the club will be there and the fans will be there, and we'll support the club. So, you know, let's move on to a new chapter. Let's try to redirect these wages in a right manner. And, you know, like Ryan said, I wish him nothing but the best, but that chapter is closed now, unfortunately.
Here. And that's very well said. And just one thing to the wages that he's supposedly going to get in Turkey. Bear in mind that he got something from Arsenal. So it's kind of like, well, how much will he need to get from Turkey to either equal the wages based on the contract buyout or make more? I can't imagine he's actually taking a £280,000 per week pay cut. Like I said, there's a portion of his salary that was paid by the club. So when you take the salary from Fenerbahce, add that to whatever it is he got from Arsenal, I'd imagine it's probably pretty close to the 350. I'd almost bet that it might even be a little more. So, but at any rate, no, like you said, it's a new chapter. I don't want to wish anybody ill. You know, that's bad karma in my opinion. So I hope he goes to Turkey, and I hope he sets the league on fire. I really do. All of the Ozil fanboys then will come out and say, "Oh, look, see what he did!" Blah blah blah. Yeah, and which is always, hindsight again, always 20/20. Stan, I'm trying to desperately avoid you on this. No, I'm kidding. I'm not at all. Listen, man. I'm trying to let the pot bubble. You know what I mean? Trying to just let it simmer a little bit. Let you stew for a minute. Kind of like the chili that I made for dinner tonight. Should have taken the seeds out of the peppers that I put in there, and it didn't. So Stan is going to be that non-seeded pepper. Wait, that doesn't make sense. You're the seeded pepper. Yeah, man. Oh my God. Hang on.
You talk food, then you got the dogs going.
Yeah, just what they need is chili. Their asses are on fire 24 hours a day as it is. So I'm going to go on mute, and Stan, the floor is yours.
So you know what? It's probably really good for everyone that we didn't have a show maybe 2 or 3 days ago when the news was fresh, because I knew that we were going to have this show on Tuesday, right? And for the first couple of days, man, I had notes probably as big as a phone directory, and I was adding to them incessantly. And then when I got to yesterday, I looked at it all and I just threw it in the bin. I just discarded the whole lot. And the best way to explain why I threw it all in the bin is like somebody reached out to me, another podcast, and they said, would you like to come on our podcast? We want to do a debate about Mesut Ozil. And we know obviously that he's not one of your favorites, so we'd like you to come on in that camp. And I just politely declined it. And the reason I declined it was, if you're going to go into a debate already having the knowledge that no matter what statistic or argument is going to be laid before you to try and lift your opinion of the subject, in this case Mesut Ozil, then there's really no point in me taking part in the said debate, because there is no stat and there is no platitude that's going to change my mind or my feelings of Ozil while he's been playing for Arsenal. But what I'm not going to do now, I'm not going to go into all of the stats and all of the reasons why, because I think most of the people out there know that I'm not his biggest fan. But the one thing that has really jumped out at me over the last week, when we kind of knew that this time was going to be imminent, is the way, and I'm watching social media, especially Twitter, there's a lot of people out there, and a lot of them are podcasters as well, who are trying to tell Arsenal fans how they should be supporting the club. I'll give you an example. Here's a statement. Now that Ozil's gone, Arsenal fans will probably be looking for another scapegoat, probably going to be Aubameyang. Now, why do we all come to podcasts? Why is everybody here in the chat box? Why are people listening on the replay? They want to hear our opinions. Now, if I want to call someone dog shit, that's my prerogative. If I've got to listen to someone incessantly telling me that a player is a legend, and in my eyes he isn't, and I'm of the opinion that that player's not really up to much, I've got the full right to go onto Twitter and say that as well. It's just an opinion at the end of the day. So what I want to say is to all Arsenal fans that might be listening to this, don't let anyone tell you how to support the club. You support the club in the way that you see fit. Obviously, there is a line. You don't need to go onto players' Instagram pages and personally attack them and send them DMs, or even at them in the messages that you put out. But if you want to have a conversation with a friend of yours in social media and you want to say that you're not impressed with Xhaka, he slows the play down, he's crap, he's not good enough for Arsenal, that's your opinion. And you've got a right to voice that opinion. And I will always respect other Arsenal fans' opinions, even though I may not always agree with them. And that's why we come to forums like this. So I heard a prominent podcaster say the other day when he was doing his summarization about Mesut Ozil, that every single Arsenal fan was glad when he accepted the new contract when Sanchez left. Unequivocally, he said, all glad. I wasn't. And when that podcaster said that, my missus was in the kitchen cooking. She actually turned around and shouted out, Stan wasn't. And I said at the time, because she's bored of hearing it. She knows. She knows. And I said at the time that contract is going to come back and bite us in the arse. I quote, word for word, that's what I said. And I feel that that's been proven the case. So I'm not going to go into why I've got a problem with Mesut Ozil. You all know, just go back on my Twitter. But as I said, I wasn't going to go into this debate online about it with this other podcast. And it's especially not fair for me to go into a debate when I've got an agenda. That's right, folks. I've always had an agenda about Mesut Ozil. And my agenda has quite simply been this. I cannot support football players that put on a shirt for my football club who don't try in every game. And I see laziness. And that's what I saw with Mesut Ozil. He was a big letdown in my eyes. And if I see that in a player, I'm going to have agendas to try and get them out of the club because I think that they're a bad influence. And I will use platforms like Twitter and I will use platforms like this podcast to further that agenda in the right way. So that's basically all I've got to say on the Mesut Ozil situation. I'm glad he's gone. And I don't really care what happens to him when he goes to Fenerbahce. I'm going to be keeping my eye on Arsenal and the players that we have now.
Here, here. Well said. Something just kind of popped into my head, and this will be the what's the word? I hate it when this happens. I'm going to try to talk as long as I can so that there's not dead air while I'm trying to think of the word I want to use. So this is going to be Mesut Ozil's epitaph, but it's going to be one word from each of us. And Rohan, I'm going to come to you first, and this will be the last word, literally from each of us, the last word on Mesut Ozil. Rohan, one word for Mesut Ozil's Arsenal career. Nope, he's muted. There we go.
Disappointment.
Disappointment. Ryan? Ryan, you're muted. Boy, amateur hour here at Table AFC USA.
I usually don't mute on the screen. I mute my actual mic, and I don't know why I did the opposite. So my one word, bye.
Stan, do you want to go last, or do you want me to go last?
It's just it's one word. It's
one word.
It's the same as Rohan. Disappointment. Big disappointment.
My word, underachievement.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Well, it is. It is. It really
That's
is.
a basic feeling, right? Like in terms of quality, I feel in terms of pure quality, he's the best player of the Emirates era, just in terms of quality that he possessed. But in terms of drive, you said this, right? Like, hard work beats talent, right? When talent doesn't work hard. And he just didn't work hard. That was his problem, right?
Not just as well, just kind of see where I'm coming from. I remember when I heard the news that Danny Welbeck was going to sign for Arsenal, for Man United, I was really vexed about that. I was like, for real? We're going to have Danny Welbeck from Man United. I was incensed about it, incensed. But the thing is, I give people chances, and I just see what's going on. I'm just concerned about what's going on as a football team on the pitch. What's going on the pitch, and Danny Welbeck won me over. I have a soft spot for the kid now. If I see his name pop up, if I'm flicking through something and I see Danny Welbeck's name, I'll stop and I'll read because I want to see what it's about. He wasn't the greatest centre forward that we've had, but there was something about his whole attitude and his application that he had my backing. I wanted things to work out for him. I wanted him to have a really good career for us at Arsenal. And I will say that it's the opposite with Mesut Ozil. When he signed from Real Madrid, I was surprised. I was like, wow, where did that come from? Because there was no news about it. There was no gossip around it. It was basically, this is happening. And I was pleased. I was chuffed. I was quite smug about it with, when I was bantering friends of mine that support other clubs. But for me, 2 seasons out of 7.5, 2 good seasons out of 7.5 for the resources that we were investing in him, for me, it's just not good enough.
Love that guy.
Let me just real quick before we move on here. Is there another player for Ryan, you or Rowan, you that you just kind of have that soft spot for? A guy that really kind of, for whatever reason, divides opinion among the fan base for me is Jack Wilshere. To this day, I love Super Jack. I do. I'm going to watch Bournemouth now because he's playing there, and to a degree I can root for them because of him. When he went to West Ham, I mean, it was okay. Well, you're with the enemy now. Can't root for you. But Jack Wilshere was that guy for me. I just that soft spot is always going to exist with him for me. Anybody else for either of you guys?
Exactly. I was going to say Jack Wilshere as well because as far as I can remember, I don't remember him having a bad game. He had all the passion that we asked for, that Ozil lacked. That is what Jack Wilshere had with the ability. I don't remember him having a bad game. It was just unfortunate. So, I would have still been okay with a pay as you play deal for him since he was out of the club, given our midfield shortage, etc. But of course, the club knows better than us. So they've decided not to go for it. But yeah, Jack Wilshere is, he for me, it was almost like, he broke into the scene when we're almost like the same age. And it almost felt like, some other guy who's like our age and who's like so passionate getting into the team and, going for it. And he's a future legend. He's a future captain, all about passion, hates the rivals, he wears a heart on his sleeve, everything that you wanted. And silky player as well, just unfortunate for him. So,
yeah. Ryan, anyone else to add before we move on?
The 2 people that popped out for me would probably be that we haven't named. I love that guy. So Welbeck's definitely there. But two people that haven't been mentioned. Someone mentioned one in the chat. For me, would be Thomas Rosicky. And this is going to throw this is a real big curveball. And so many people disagree with me. Joel Campbell.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of his. I think when we were at our worst with Wenger, I think when me personally, when I turned kind of on Wenger a little bit, I thought Joel Campbell was our best player, our hardest working player, and it was not even close. And he could not get game time. Wenger would very sparingly play him, and you could see it. And I think that's what gets me more upset than not is you could see the passion that he has for the club and the passion that he tries to put on the pitch and the hard work he did. And he played well. He had a few assists. You could even maybe say pre-assist. I don't want to use that word because someone's leaving. That's associated with that. But I really like the player. I watched him a lot. Growing up, I watched the German national team, but I also watched the American national team, obviously. And, I watched him play for Costa Rica because USA played Costa Rica a lot. And he was just head and shoulders above everybody. And even for Arsenal, I just think he was a really hardworking player and he didn't get the credit he deserved. And I know it's a random one, but yeah. Oh yeah. Someone also said in the chat, Lucas. I love Lucas Podolski just because he's German, but him too. But yeah, I'd go that way.
Just Mike's comment from Pong, and I don't even know or care what the question is. So yeah, that's it. This chapter of the Arsenal story is closed. And
can I take my shirt off now?
There better be something on underneath it.
As a closing part to this as well, I've always felt that the rebuild that we often talk about that's needed at Arsenal. I've always felt that it was never ever going to really be able to start in earnest until we were able to move Mesut Ozil on. So that's now happened. You know what? Even if he's gone away on loan, he's not coming back to the club. So I think that we can look forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. Lone Star Londoner just said it. He divided the club like nobody else. Let me just scroll back up here. 50 years cannot think of a player that divided the fans. Lone Star. I'm going to take that one step further. I think he divided the club. I legitimately think that he divided the club, the players in the dressing room. We've seen it with some Twitter comments, and don't really want to get into any of that. These guys, they know him a lot better than we do. And if Skodran Mustafi wants to wish him well and be a little apologetic or whatever, that's fine. That's their prerogative. Just like Stan, like you said, it's your prerogative to not like the guy and to have the agenda. That you're absolutely right. That's your prerogative. If Socrates wants to wish him well and so on and so forth, that's fine. That's being professional.
Yeah,
it's being human.
Yeah,
and
a football player moving to another team, I'd be a little bit miffed at the ones that didn't want to wish me well.
Yeah, exactly. So, those guys they took it public. And I think to a degree it was a bit of a show of support for him. And I have no problem with that. None whatsoever. So anyway,
I think it's just interesting the players that did go public. I think to me, I completely agree. He could have divided me to the other side of the dressing room. You still wish him good luck, but I just think it's interesting how at least the two players that I saw wish him good luck right off the bat in Guendouzi and Mustafi, which is it's very interesting. Someone who's
was it a surprise? Those guys have been
no. I think
Arteta. So
that's my point. Like and who knows? They all could have wished him good luck, and I just missed all of it. But the two players that I saw right off the bat, in Mustafi.
No, even Aubameyang did. Aubameyang wished him good luck, but the message
I would hope he did.
And I think, wishing your teammate good luck and then leaving is fine. It just irked me what Mustafi wrote. Right? He wrote that you will be known as the assist king, but we are sorry that we couldn't assist you when you needed us the most.
Yeah,
what does that even mean?
I said that to Tanner. I was talking to Tanner a couple days ago.
That guy out of the club.
That's something me and Tanner actually had this. Well, because I had a private conversation with Tanner about that because I think you were texting about a show, and we talked about
private.
I mean, yeah, it was. And we talked about it, and he did, I hope I'm not airing your dirty laundry, but you kind of said, like, I don't get it. Like, it's no big deal. And I was like, yeah, it's not a big deal. And exactly what Rowan said, I completely agree with it. Something in me just twinged when he said that, like, we couldn't help you when you needed help the most. I was like, why put that? Like, I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know. I just think it could be worded. It could have been worded better.
Because he knows he's a goner.
Rohan, what'd you say? I didn't hear what Rowan said.
I said he knows he's a goner, so he doesn't care anymore. So he can write whatever.
And right? I think on top of that too, why it's just the whole situation is very odd is because like all these players are wishing good luck. Neither club has announced anything yet. And it's almost like, and I didn't mention this in my, and I hate we're still talking about this, but I didn't mention this in my, in my talking about Ozil. The thing that bothered me too, on top of that, was just like he had like a Snapchat story about him moving. Has anyone ever seen that with a player going to a different club? Okay, first night he's at his house. He's got like blue and yellow on. You're like, oh, blue and yellow.
It's like an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Yeah. First he changed his logo, his Mesut Ozil logo. Then he's wearing blue and yellow, like sitting on the couch with his wife and his kid. Then he's on a jet with Fenerbahce flags in the background. Then he's got this. Then he lands on the jet and he's with some Turkish guys. Then he's holding this. It's like I'm following like his life story, and and I don't know. I could be wrong. When have you guys ever seen that with any player moving teams?
Never.
It was at least 5 different tweets.
This is only second best to. Well, this is the only the second best story after Peter Odemwingie, if you remember him trying to force a move to QPR, when he drove down to QPR on the final day and couldn't force a move, and then was left out of his original squad also.
Oh, that was like a week ago, right? I saw that.
Yeah.
No, that was like a few years ago. Do you remember Peter Odemwingie? This guy went from West Brom to QPR, drove down to force a transfer, and then it didn't happen. I know
that happened this transfer window. A player showed up to training in another team's kit.
Oh yeah.
And they wouldn't let him in because he wanted to force a move. So he showed up training in another team's kit.
I just wonder as well. I mean, since this news has been announced, has anybody checked in on the Gunnosaurus to make sure he's all right? Just
somebody said something like that earlier in the chat. So
yeah, I just think it's very strange how like neither team has announced anything. We have goodbye messages. We have all these like things. It's literally like I'm following him on Snapchat, and I don't even have Snapchat, and I like know this whole story. I think it's so strange. I just think the whole situation is so strange. And like I said, and I keep harping this, and I've talked to like friends that don't even watch football, and I just harp it, dude. Bad ex-girlfriend, get the fuck out. You're deaded. You're done. Like you moved on. I moved on. Like I'm doing my thing. I'm cruising for chicks with my dick. Well, I probably should say that out loud. But yeah, I'm done. Like I'm over it. That's why I said my one word is bye. Like I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm done. I don't want to be like, oh, disappointment, overwhelmed. I don't need bye. Move on. I'm looking forward. Emile Smith Rowe, Saka, they get my dick card. And yeah, I'm gonna say it. That's it. That's what I care about. I'm looking forward. I want, like when we won the FA Cup, always forward.
We can't move forward because you won't shut up.
There you go. Good point.
Club is the star.
Stan, go ahead, Stan.
Club is the star. That's what it is. Club is the star.
Yeah. I'm gonna shout out Kenny Ken on that one from Twitter because Kenny Ken says that all the time. The club is the star. We go again. The club is the star. Absolutely. And Rowan said it before. Look, I've said it before on Twitter. Rowan said it tonight. Players, coaches, executives, hell, even ownership. They're going to come. They're going to go. The club will remain. It's the club. I'm going to channel my inner Bo Schembechler. For those who don't know, Bo Schembechler is the late coach of the University of Michigan football program. He left some time ago, and he's since passed away. But Schembechler gave a very famous speech back in I believe it was the early 80s. And at the end of the speech, he just said 3 words: the team, the team, the team. That's or he said 2 words 3 times. He didn't say 3 words. Yeah.
That's right. It's like 6 words.
Hang on, wait. Carry the 2? Right, yeah. Anyway, so moving forward, gents, Crystal Palace draw. Just lackluster. Nothing more can be said from my standpoint on Crystal Palace. And I know we're talking Thursday of last week? Yeah. So put your remembering caps on here and
I think we're going to talk about that one.
I honestly don't even know if I watched it.
We ought to cover. We should at least cover them.
That was the 0-0 draw, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing that I took away from that game is, and it's something that I've said before, if I was going to make a change to the rules of football, I think the first thing that I would change personally was I wouldn't give any points for a 0-0 draw. That scoreline, you can get a point. You know, you can get a point for 1-1 or 2-2. But a 0-0 draw.
Really? See, I completely disagree. Because
I just think that if that rule was in place for the game that we had, that Crystal Palace game, it may have opened up a little bit more one way or the other. And sometimes there's too many teams who will quite happily go to a club and think, I don't care if we don't score a goal, just do not let them score one.
Yeah.
And then you get the proverbial
play for the draw. Yep.
I really agree with that. You know, this especially not just because of Crystal Palace. It was a letdown. It was a snooze fest. It was a bore of a game. You know, I suffered through it till the end. We were hoping that we get something. Till the end, it was maybe we'll get like a set piece or something. Only that could work. It just wasn't clicking for us. But you know, what we did do well was we defended well. We defended fairly well. It's not like we gave them chances as well. So that was okay. We'd want more.
You went into the defending there. What was your thoughts on the partnership of Holding and Luiz? That pairing. That was the pairing in the Palace game, right?
Yeah. And they were fine. I mean, they were solid. I don't think that there was an issue in that game. You know, especially because the game before that, which was the Newcastle game, in that also David Luiz has played, right? And he won all the balls against Andy Carroll in the air. So he played all right. So he got the next start again, and he was fine. And again, like I was for this game, I, like a lot of people, were expecting Gabriel to start, but when David Luiz started, I was okay with it. You know, you have to trust the manager again. You know, he for me, he has sort of stumbled into this situation more than anything else of having to trust the youngsters. But now that he's stuck to it. So he's sort of got my support back. You know, and so he's doing all right.
You are allowed to change your opinion, but people would go, "Oh, you're flip-flopping." No, it's a change of opinion. Opinions can change, right? Depending on what you're seeing. We live in the moment, right? So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, so just because you know, first of all, it's not that on his first loss I said that he needs to go out. I was just not seeing any sort of progression. And if he would have continued to play Luiz and Willian, especially in the same manner that we were, and he did not change his formation, then we'd still be in the same position. Now, whatever has led him to change the formation, be it injuries, be it lack of personnel, be it his hand being forced, he has done that. And now we've done better.
A lack of effort.
Be it a lack of effort by some people, and you know, maybe he's seen that finally, which is what we were going to. My real issue with him was that I didn't see him picking it up again, you know, because he doesn't have the experience to go through a dip and then come back up. But these kids have done it mainly for him. I think more than Arteta, it's the kids who can take credit for the resurgence in form. Arteta can be given the credit to you know, continue this now that we've got the confidence. But I wouldn't say that it was Arteta's tactical genius that got us out of it. But it's fine, Yeah, and the manager that I wanted, who is Pochettino, has gone to PSG anyway. So there's no point in that. But Crystal Palace, drab draw. But we played 120 minutes also before that against Newcastle, and there's also fatigue. There's also all of that. But I do agree with you. There have been so many games this season, the big games, right? Manchester City versus Manchester United, Liverpool versus Manchester United, Liverpool versus Chelsea. I can name a bunch of more big, high-profile games that have just ended nil-nil.
Drab, yeah.
And what is that about? If you can't make the effort, either you have to do something about it. And I really don't mind that you don't get any points for a nil-nil draw. If that means that for a loss you're going to get a minus 0.5, then that's fine, because there has to be a difference between a loss and a draw. So negative marking if you lose, that's fine by me. But nil-nil is something that I don't want to watch.
I mean, the game's really boring and dreadful when I give Xhaka my man of the match. So that should tell you all you need to know. But the only reason why I disagree with Stan and the whole 0-0 thing is just because I absolutely love Leno, and Leno made a fantastic save in that game, and Leno deserves the clean sheet. I want Leno to get all the accolades because he's our goalkeeper.
Oh yeah,
Leno is our goalkeeper. What is that? 5-6 clean sheets in a row. So I mean, I get where you guys are coming from, and I'm not going to fight you guys on it, but I just a clean sheet for Bert Leno is it's a happy day in the office for me, even if I have to give Granit Xhaka the man of the match, which I shake in horror every time I say it.
So just going back to what we were talking about the defence, and I was asking Rohan about David Luiz. I don't know if anyone else is noticing it, but it's like I just feel that when David Luiz is in the team, I'm sick of seeing the same thing, right? And the same thing I keep seeing is this. The ball gets rolled to David Luiz or passed to David Luiz. And instead of finding a really quick pass, he stops the ball, he stands there, almost like in the submarine, ups periscope, has a look around and waves people into position, then makes a pass. And it's happening, it seems to be happening every single time now. And it's like, whoa, the ball goes to Luiz, the play stops. It just rewinds down until he's done his up periscope and told people where they should be. And just looking at that, do you believe the rumours that Mari hasn't played recently? I saw this because there's a clause in his contract that says that Arse have to play for Menko one.
Oh my God.
If that's the case, then we're never going to see him play again then, right? Because the next time he plays...
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Do you know what I mean? We must be selling him in this window because we'll never play him again. Because the next time he plays, we have to fork out $1 million. But going back to the David Luiz thing, I don't understand why Gabriel is being on the bench now that he's back and he's ready to go. After everything that we've seen from him, I mean, it's like you kind of haven't with Gabriel. If you look at all of the games that he's had for Arsenal, you've almost got to count how many games did he not get man of the match.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And he's essential. He's centre back, so I don't understand why he's now missing out to Holding or even Luiz. I think that the partnership between Gabriel and Holding looks good. And I think the partnership between Mari and Holding looks pretty good as well. But David Luiz, for me, I don't think he looks good with anybody. So, again, he's in a camp where he's a player that I don't really care for. You know, I've got a memory like an elephant sometimes when it comes to certain things. And I remember, he's making records for us for giving penalties away. David.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not forgetting that. Again, I can't wait till we get to the summer, and that's another one that walks out of the door.
Yeah.
So before I talk about David Luiz, I just shout out to Lone Star Londoner saying I like Germans. I mean, I love Germans. The amount of times I've done, I'm not going to say what I've done in this jersey, but anyways. So, yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg if you get my drift. So the thing with David Luiz, and I was actually going to talk about this later, and it's kind of, in a way, how I kind of feel about Xhaka and how he's playing a lot better, kind of, sort of, maybe. They're the best way I can put it is like they're alphas, and they're guys that need to be the center of attention. They need all these things, and I think they play better when they're not the center of attention. They play better when they're, the supporting role in the game. Like, I think Xhaka's a lot better with Partey on the field. I think Xhaka's better when he lets Ceballos do his thing. And I think David Luiz is the same thing. And I think for me, it kind of clicked, watching him play the last 2 games. He's very slow on the ball. I guess I don't know. Maybe I just realized that, or maybe he's just been slow the last few games. He's very slow on the ball, and he slows the tempo down, which is the same thing that Xhaka does, which I can't stand. And we have a very low, this is the beginning of the season, we had a very low tempo. But yeah, he just slows the games. He slows games down. He just kind of launches it. And his passes are sometimes accurate, cool, awesome. I just think he needs to kind of take a supporting role. And that's just, I just think it's not in his DNA. That's not who he is. He's the guy, behind closed doors. He's leading the cult. He's leading, certain factions in the dressing room, or, out in the public. He's easing the young guys in. He's welcoming all the new players to Arsenal and all this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, he's been with the club for 2.5 years. And he's the one. He's the welcoming mat. So it's very interesting, and I think he is someone that could maybe lead in the dressing room if he's not creating said factions. Again, it's all hearsay, this bullshit. But I just don't really like the kind of role he takes on, which is the same thing for Xhaka. Just a very alpha attitude, very let me do this. I'm experienced. I'm a leader. I'm going to do what I want to do. And then 2 minutes later, oh, you got sent off. Oh, you conceded a penalty. That's Xhaka and David Luiz in a nutshell. They're just gonna give silly fouls, do this, do that, and I won't even lie. Xhaka's been playing better the last few games. He's been playing well, and I think it's because he's taking sort of a backseat. He's letting Ceballos do what he do. And I think so for Arse Bros, I did give him a -2 for the game against Newcastle, but I don't think he played that bad. It was a tough choice, but my -2 was Xhaka. -3 was David Luiz. They play better being support roles, and I thought Holding was phenomenal against Newcastle. So I just hope that they could kind of figure out, and I know I was talking about Luiz, but I feel the same way about both players in Granit Xhaka and David Luiz. They need to kind of find, their place, and their place is not being leaders of Arsenal. I know they're leaders, and I know Xhaka is the captain of Switzerland. Cool, man. You stay out of wars. You're neutral. You're awesome.
That's pretty much the way he passes the ball too, isn't it?
Switzerland. You stay out of trouble.
See what I did there?
Yeah,
I did there. Come on, give credit where it's due, because that was funny. Thank you, man. Thank you.
I know in Switzerland you ski and you eat chocolates. Awesome. Fantastic. You stay out of wars, you do little things on the slopes, and you eat, and
you pass the ball sideways.
I just don't think that you're. It's funny. I'm gonna almost contradict myself, and this is not gonna make any sense. I don't think we need Xhaka's leadership for this team, even though we don't have leadership. I know it's gonna sound kind of weird. I just don't think he's the right fit for what we want to do going forward. But I think he's if he wants to, hold, clean Aubameyang's shoes, clean Partey's cleats, maybe, or no, sorry, boots. I got in trouble with the Arse Bros. I called them cleats. They're boots. Excuse me. He's a supporting role guy. With that being said, though, I want him out, and I don't want him anywhere near the club, and I don't even care for depth. He's horrible, but I think he just needs to, take a back seat. Easy, buddy.
Anyone even remember how we got to talking about Granit Xhaka?
Oh, David Luiz. I was talking about David Luiz.
Oh, okay.
Two things, right? The first one is never understood why the Swiss actually needed an army knife in the first place. The second one being, I just wanted to answer Mike's question from the Gooner podcast. He said, "You ever had COVID, Stan?" And obviously, I think he's talking about my comments about Gabriel. I'm just of an adage, right? you shouldn't be on the bench if you're not fit enough to play.
Yeah.
In any circumstance, I don't care
Yeah,
if
that's
from a muscle tear or whatever. If your name's in the squad and you're on the bench, then that means that you could be called upon at any minute, and you need to be ready and fit to play. So I just wanted to answer that. And no,
I'd agree with that. If you're, I mean, you can't be put on the bench if you're not, if you're not fit to play. This can't be you can't be in case of emergency break glass kind of substitute. You know what I mean? And that's so. If that's the case, then then he sits until he's physically fit and ready to go. So I would agree with that. So yeah, the Crystal Palace to draw was disappointing, to say the least. But like Rowan said, we did just play 120 minutes against Newcastle. It was 5. It was 4 days. So, but at any rate, the one big takeaway from that game was. Are you done? Sorry. Don't whisper. If you're going to say it, just say it. Don't whisper.
I was chanting Leno. That's all.
The one takeaway from the Palace game is, boy, oh boy, Kieran Tierney. Whew.
Yeah.
If that dude is not the most important player, I'm not saying he's the best player. I think he's one of, but he is the most important player to this team right now. I mean,
it shows that everything about our play at the moment, and when you think about it in the cold light of day, it's pretty stark, right? That all of the best things that we seem to do now revolves around a 23-year-old left back.
Yep. And it also says something that, it was Newcastle. So nice little segue into the Newcastle match last night. But even when you pretty much know what's coming, he's good enough that it doesn't matter. He's still going to make things happen. Didn't get on the score sheet with any assists or anything, but you just, every time he gets the ball, like you know what's coming and try to stop it. Like I dare you. Man, oh man, I'm not going to call him the Michael Jordan of the Premier League right now, but that was kind of Jordan's mentality. Like, you know what I'm going to do, stop me.
And his confidence right now is like at some sky high level, because there was times when it was outrageous that he was taking shots from outside the box when he just wasn't supposed to, and it wasn't even coming off. It was like going into the stand, but he was trying. I was just like, where is this coming from? There were a couple of times that he was taking, but he's confident at the moment. And you're right, he was one of the main differences between the two games. So yeah, that's clear.
It makes you think too. We don't really have a suitable left back, a backup. I love AMN.
Yeah, because
he didn't play well. He doesn't really suit what they're trying to do on the left side. He doesn't do what Tierney does, and I think AMN's out the door. I don't think he's really got much time left.
Can I ask you a question, Ed and Ryan? If let's say, for example, we had to rest Kieran Tierney and everybody else is fit, who would be in our current squad that we have? Who would you think would be the backup? Who would you put in at left back?
Honestly, Saka. I don't think there's really anybody else, because everyone talks to how Cedric can play both sides of the ball, but numerous times AMN plays it, and yet he can't. But yet AMN can't get any time in on right back. It's always Cedric. So I don't think Arteta has any plans of playing Cedric on the left. I think he's going to persist with Cedric on the right, and I think at that point, I think you got to play Saka. And my one quick shout out to my boys in Stuttgart. I'm gonna say I'm a fan. I support them. We have a really good left back in Borna Sosa. He's 22. He's from Croatia. Oh, his crosses. He's got such a deadly left foot. I would love to see him come to Arsenal and play backup for Tierney. I don't know if he want to do that, but shout out to Stuttgart. My one per podcast shout out to Stuttgart. He's a real good player, and he plays left wing. He plays left midfield. But yeah.
So the thing with Cedric and AMN at left back is they're both right-footed.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
and what Arteta wants to do in attack is he wants that position to fire in the cross. Well, they're both right-footed, so what are they going to do? They're going to naturally cut back into the middle on their strong foot. So that putting Maitland-Niles in at left back, and that's your approach. When you're attacking, it's not going to work for him because he just doesn't have a left foot to put that cross in. It's the same thing with Pepe on the right, and why he's not getting any game, because he's a one-trick pony. You know what he's going to do? He's going to get the ball. He's going to come bombing down the right flank, but then he's going to stop, and he's going to try to cut back into the middle on his left foot because that's all he has. Speaking of Cedric, I really thought he had a really, really good game yesterday. Yeah. I mean, he and Bellerin in attack are two. They're different. They're very different. Bellerin's more of a driver. He's going to come at you, but Cedric, he can deliver that cross from the right flank. He really can. He put in some real nice balls and gets the assist on the second Aubameyang goal. Whether the ball was over the line or not, I don't think it was. I think it stayed in. But what's that?
You can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you what. I think they're both suspect defensively, but boy, at least in attack anyway, Cedric might fit this system better than Bellerin does. Anybody jump in on Cedric versus Bellerin?
So in my opinion, I don't think Cedric. No, he played well. He had a solid game. I don't think he was above and beyond. Yeah, thank you, Gunnar Eddie. He's worth $3 million. I'm just saying, Sosa. You heard it here first, baby. Born a Sosa. Anyways, I thought he had a really good game. He's really solid. I think what made him stand out, at least for me, what made him stand out so well in the game for us is he's just so different. He's so different than Bellerin. And I know Bellerin's he's an interesting a player for us. For me, anyways, he's a player where I'm screaming at him, and then I'm like, all right, Bellerin, you dribble through everybody. Do your thing, baby. Cut in the middle, and then I'm like screaming at him, what are you doing? He's terrible in one-on-ones. He can't track back. He's terrible defensively. He's holding out to dry, this, that, and the other thing. With Cedric, I think he's just a completely different player. And, we need someone that could cross from the right side. We never really had that. Bellerin's never been good with crosses. Pepe, and now we have Saka on the right side. I think he offers a lot for Saka as well. And also, too, and one thing I've always given Cedric credit for, as much as I've disliked him, I don't say disliked him, but I didn't understand the signing, didn't understand the extension. Well, I guess I did understand the signing, but I don't understand the extension. And I've kind of been dogging him a lot. But I will say, and I've been saying this, his set pieces, he's got a very hard shot. He's got a very hard and direct shot. And
let us not forget that he scored a goal in his first appearance for the club.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. I don't know about that. but no, I think it's almost like a breath of fresh air. And I do think that he is someone that could rotate with Bellerin, especially with Bellerin coming back from an ACL injury. I know it's not terribly recent, but recent enough to where I think Bellerin needs rotation. Oh, what do you know? Arteta even said it. Arteta strictly sat Bellerin out because of rotation purposes. So, I do think that there's something there. I still maybe want to see if we can get an upgrade at right back, just because, there are a lot of links saying Bellerin's going to leave in the summer to PSG. And I think there was an Italian club that wants him. And I think Barcelona are always linked with him too. He's their Julian Draxler. So, I don't know, but
what you mean we're going to be linked with him every transfer window?
Well, no, I mean, Bellerin's always linked with a move back to Barcelona. So yeah. I just think that it's good to have that, interchangeable, where you could put your dribbler in that cuts in the middle. You could have your guy that can deliver crosses and set pieces. I just think we kind of need to nail down what we want to do. And I think, to be fair, I think Cedric's the guy for what Arteta wants to do. Now, I just think we need an upgrade on him. I think we can get a better player that still suits Arteta and what he wants to do. Who's that player? I don't know.
So when
Rowan,
sorry,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was
Rowan,
say, when Ryan said interchangeable, obviously I was thinking of the Tony Adams head. I don't know why. But,
I don't know, maybe because it's interchangeable.
I'm going to open that box later. But with Cedric,
don't open the box.
Wait, don't open the box.
Don't open the box.
This is the one time.
Oh, what's in the box?
Don't open the box.
Oh, what's in the box? Don't open the. What's in the box? If anybody can name what movie I just quoted.
Apparently, it's like a little goal in there, and the actual figure kicks the ball. So I want to set the goal up and see if I can get the cat to sit in the goal and see if I can get Dennis to stick one by. But talking about Cedric, right? I was like Ryan. I couldn't understand the deal. You know, it was almost like he wasn't getting games when he should be getting games. You know, there were games where it was like dead rubbers where he could have got minutes and he didn't. But I'm of the opinion that, you know, I enjoyed what I saw of him in the last game. Glad what I saw, because I don't know much about him, anything about him before he came to us. So I'm one of those that's of the opinion that he's had a good game. Then why don't we reward that to the player and say, you know what, if you're all fit and well, I'm gonna try you in the next game as well. And that way, then we give Hector Bellerin a bit of competition, because I've always felt that we always get the best out of Hector Bellerin when he knows that he's not going to be on the team sheet for right back every week. He went through a period of time under Wenger where there wasn't really anyone. We might have had cover, but there was no one challenging. It was like, if he can walk and breathe, he'll play. No matter how good his form is or how bad he went out of form. So maybe having someone like Cedric, making him aware that he's not going to be an automatic choice, we may sort of like get him to just to squeeze out a little bit more for us. Because I'm still a Hector Bellerin fan, personally. I think he still does a lot of good things for us. You know, yes, we could upgrade, but I'm not screaming and shouting. I don't think it's a scalping situation. And if you've got a player like Cedric that can maybe keep him on his toes a little bit, and if he's worth it and can keep a run of form and play like he did against Newcastle, even though Newcastle was dog shit, you know, let's not make any bones about it. I mean, they were absolute rubbish, right? But he should be rewarded. He should be rewarded, so he knows, if I continue to work this hard, it will reap dividends. The worst thing we can do now is drop him for Bellerin, and he's like, what the fuck?
I mean, and we've talked about this before, haven't we, Rowan? Where certain guys, just because of the name on the back of their jersey or the price tag associated with them, they're just going to play no matter what. And it just can't be that way, right?
Definitely can't be that way, right? Like, you know, Bellerin, for me, this season, and like always, he's been a passenger. He's been a passenger in the sense that when the team has been shit, he's been shit. The team has now, in the last 5-6 games, been better. That's not because Bellerin has pulled it to be better. It's because the other kids have done that, and he has sort of been dragged along. So he looks okay now, but I'm not going to forget the dreadful games that he has had, the times when he's lost Son in the background for him to score a screamer, or the times that he can't take a throw in. You know, this is what Bellerin does. You know, that is what he does. Unless he's going to get, you know, really bang in form, just because he's not making those glaring mistakes doesn't mean that he's been doing exceptionally well. I would give him that, you know, that free pass. So Cedric played well. He has end product. You know, I want to see more of him. You know, with Bellerin, you never think he drives in there, but he can't deliver that final ball. He's just not got it. You know, and we should just leave that be. You know, but another player that we were talking about some time back, who has sort of dragged the team in this good run since the time that guy has come back, is Granit Xhaka. Since the time, and this is my opinion, I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion or it's just my opinion, but I feel that since the time Granit Xhaka has come back into the team, which is like 5-6 games ago after his red card, he has played well in each and every match, and he's been one of the bright sparks in the team, because he's one of the midfielders who's passing it forward, who's breaking those lines, who's attempting those passes that require some sort of vision. What was missing from Ozil, what was missing from this. Like, he's at least trying that. Of course, in the last game, he didn't have to do that much of it because Partey is just like different class. The way he was shifting the ball, the assist that he had for Aubameyang, the way he just like shifted the ball and then played a long ball. I didn't know that Partey had that long ball in him, and he played a number of those balls as well. So that was brilliant. But Xhaka is the guy who's actually pulled the team along with these youngsters, but it's not Bellerin. Bellerin is a passenger.
I did not. Speaking of Partey, I did notice he obviously goes to the same shooting school as Granit Xhaka as well. But I just saw something in the comments there. Yeah, I'll take a bit of Lamptey all day. If there was a chance that we could get someone like Lamptey as an upgrade in that right back area, I would be all over that.
It's unfortunate because it's not going to happen this summer because he just signed a new contract at Brighton.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yep. Just signed a new 5-year deal down at Brighton. That's Brighton's way. They know they're not going to keep a hold of him with all the hype surrounding him. They know they're not going to keep him, but that's their way of making sure that they're going to get as much money out of that deal as they can. He would probably leave, and he's still a young kid too. He's only 19. He's not old. But
instead of Barcelona, sell Bellerin to Brighton.
Yeah.
Barcelona ends up in Brighton.
Yeah, but I would imagine he's gonna move in 2 to 3 seasons. But again, still a young kid, and absolutely. Right now, if we needed to upgrade on Bellerin, said I'm Ryan Mackerns. Relatively Premier League proven. I mean, he did have a year up here last year. Granted, they were pretty bad, but there's something there with that kid as well. So Aubameyang's off the schneid. And Rowan, I'm going to come right back to you because that's your boy. So how you feeling about things right now with him? Did the floodgates open for him? Because in the first half, now the goal that he missed in the first half, everybody's giving him shit for this. It was damn near an impossible angle.
It was difficult.
That angle was hey Christ, it was almost on the goal line. I don't know.
No. It wasn't about the angle. What it was about was that the ball got a deflection in near the half point of the goal. So like very close to him, the ball got a deflection. So the ball was slightly behind him. He tried to put it inside, but it's happening in such a pace that he just couldn't manage it. It went and hit the post. It's unfortunate. It's fine. That's fine. I'll tell you what my thinking about Aubameyang is just generally. One is that he's lacking confidence. Yeah. That's for sure. But the second thing is that the teams have also figured out, how to play him. And it's the same way how to play Pepe, right? That you have a defender on him, in front of him, and then you have a second man coming in right behind him so that he can't shift onto his left foot. And you show him down the line. When he's out of form, he's not going to be able to score with his left foot, which is the issue. When did he score? He scored when we shifted the ball quickly, when he got versus the defender one-on-one. There wasn't a second guy, so the defender couldn't get tight to him. Although he still went down the left side, but he created enough space to get a good shot in. So that's my analysis of why Aubameyang scored the second or the first goal that he did, but hadn't been scoring the previous chances. And it was pretty clear to me what they were doing. And it's the same thing that they do to Pepe as well. Because people know that they are lethal players at the end of it. They do have quality, but hopefully now he gets that confidence back. After the goal that he had, I felt that for the first goal, the goalkeeper went down pretty early. He could have stood still and he could have had a chance to save it. I don't know why he went down so early. But that was a great goal. And in the second goal, right place at the right time. And just think about it, right? Like, I mean, if scoring tap-ins is so easy, if scoring it was his 400th league game in Europe, and he scored 207 goals. Yeah, that's a bloody impressive record, right? And if scoring goals is so easy, why didn't Lacazette get a couple of tap-ins? And Lacazette played well, by the way. It's not like Lacazette played badly or something. I'm just going to read this.
Read it for the class, Rohan. Read it for the
Read
class.
it for the class.
We criminally overlook Lacazette, and if he's not playing right now, the play stops dead and it's side to side. The Chelsea penalty was big. So I agree. Lacazette is playing well. In fact, what he did, the first chance that we had, the major chance, which was Lacazette stopping the ball and having a snapshot, which was a great save by Darlow, by the way. That was old Lacazette, right? Lacazette is an instinctive striker. He's not. Whenever he thinks too much, he dwells. He wants to be absolutely 100% sure of where he wants to put the ball. He absolutely messes it up. He is a guy who just gets it, bang. The most quintessential Lacazette goal is the goal that he scored a couple of seasons ago against Liverpool when he went one-on-one. Didn't even look. He sort of had Alisson coming out. He didn't even look at the goal. He took it inside and whipped it in. Right? Like whoever remembers that goal remembers it. Otherwise, just Google, Lacazette versus Liverpool. And Lacazette, for me, is an instinctive striker. He played well. He's playing well. He's also one of the reasons why Arsenal is playing well right now. Do not overlook it. In previous podcasts, I've said that Lacazette should be playing and Aubameyang should be dropped. But Aubameyang, again, he showed that scoring goals is what he does. And hopefully this kicks on. There's confidence that's brewing, and he gets many more goals for us because even if Lacazette is playing really well, I don't expect him to get 20 goals really.
Let me get the super chat in here real quick. Enigma, thank you very much for the kind donation. 17-year-old Brook North Cuffy, Arsenal best kept secret. He also plays for England U18s and Arsenal U23s. He will be ready next season, guaranteed. Enigma. Okay. That's all I have to add to that. I have no clue who this is.
That's the name, man.
I've seen him play. I've seen him play. He's a pretty good player. I think he needs a loan. I think he needs to be loaned out to like a championship squad. Probably won't get loaned out to that high of a team. He'll probably get loaned out to like a League One side. But I do think he could be a really good player. I like what I see so far watching him play for the U23s. But I think with him, it's really early to tell like which way he'll fall. But he's a good player.
And now
good chat, Enigma. Good chat.
And now you all know why we.
What is it about all these hyphenated names, man? It sounds like we've got like a load of players. Back in the days when it was like black and white TV, and the ball now goes over to Brook Coffee, to Maitland-Niles, back to Smith Rowe, back to Coffee. It's all these weird names. No.
Wait,
Stan, I'll give you another.
That was really good, by the way. That was fantastic.
But Stan, I'll give you one of his names. I mean, his name. Hang on, what was his name? Brook North Cuffy.
Yeah, Brook North Cuffy.
I'll give you one more.
It sounds like Stan. Tell me that doesn't sound like a town in England.
Do you know what I mean?
Like he's just named after the whole. Like they just named him after the whole town. Like his parents are so confident he's going to be the mayor of Brook North Cuffy. Is the mayor of Brook North Cuffy.
I don't usually get names on the back of my shirt, but I might get that. I might get North Cuffy.
Stan, I'll give you one more. There's a left winger in our academy that's actually pretty promising. He's probably going to sign a professional contract, I think, probably at the end of the season, maybe next season. Keto Taylor Hart. Taylor Hart is his hyphenated name.
Oh, wait. Tyrese John Jules.
Yeah, and we've also got Jersey also Tutu.
Yeah.
Jordy, yeah.
It's like,
Jesus.
We're like, not really.
You know what? I've now figured out that we will not be buying any players from this point forward who don't have hyphenated last names.
Yeah, we might as well just call ourselves Double Barreled FC.
I like that, actually. That's really good.
Dude,
I like double.
I can see it now. Arsenal signs Jack Grealish McMurray. Oh, that's great. That's great. It's fantastic.
Wow.
By the way, to the chat doesn't know, my last name is McMurray. So, yeah.
Do we need to have an intervention here? Like, you're not going to start talking.
Chamberlain. Yeah.
Like Chamberlain
Comes back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oxlade Chamberlain.
Homecoming.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, I'm way off.
No, but I gave my thoughts on Aubameyang. What do you guys think? Glasses.
I'm glad he got a couple of goals because he needed it. But I've got a little worry when I look at the Arsenal lineup at the moment, and it just seems that we've got a guy playing out on the left, okay, on the left-hand side who's right-footed. We've now got a guy playing out on the right-hand side, and he's left-footed. And you can choose whether that be Pepe or Saka. And now I'm seeing a lot of our fans saying, why can't we play Mari and Gabriel together, who are both left-footed? And I just get worried that having two inverted players on each side is going to make our play very predictable. I think we can afford to have one. Whether it's Aubameyang playing on the left with a right foot or having Saka playing on the right with a left foot, I don't think we can continue long term to have both of them because it's going to make our play really predictable. Not so much when they're higher up in the later third of the pitch, but when they're a little bit further back, we all know what's going to happen. They're cutting in.
So, but isn't that, I'll quote Martin Tyler on this, what he said during commentary, but isn't this the flavor of the Premier League now? That's how most successful teams play, be it Liverpool, be it City, all of these teams play with inverted wingers, essentially, who will get into the box, and the width is provided by the striker. By the fullback, sorry. That's how everybody's playing now. Because the thing about crosses is I'm never confident about crosses. I have not known Arsenal as a team that plays on crosses. And for me, a striker or a midfielder is inevitably going to be shorter than a centre back. And centre backs hunt in pairs. They're going to be outnumber the strikers and the wingers there. And they're going to be better headers of the ball as well. So that is a Hail Mary attempt for me. I'd rather play it on the ground, and for that you need to have players playing on the opposite foot, the opposite flank. That's just my opinion.
I think it's probably a personal thing, and I see that Richard Francis says, and he's right, and you said it right, and we are relying on fullbacks to get us up the pitch. But I think it's, for me, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. I still want us to see us. I pray at night that we go back to a formation that has two strikers up front.
Yeah.
Instead of having a central guy with like the two flanking, and sometimes the flanking are strikers, but I always feel that is at the detriment of the striker being put on either flank. But that's just a personal thing of mine.
Yeah, then Newcastle was playing your dream formation, no? They had a big guy, little guy.
Well, yeah, you got to have the players that can play as well, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, what do you mean, Eddie Carroll? He's a peach. Come on.
So when you
better in the FA Cup, really, they played better.
It's funny, like you mentioned Andy Carroll, though. If you look at the way that they were playing, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Arsenal. You've got Andy Carroll crossing the ball in to the other guy. I can't remember what his name is. Who plays for them? It was number 9. Whereas surely you want it the other way around, right? If anyone is going to get on the end of a cross, you want it to be Andy Carroll. And it reminds me of Arsenal, where sometimes I find it heartbreaking when I see Aubameyang pick up the ball, and then he's crossing the ball into the penalty area, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but I want Aubameyang in there to receive the ball.
Then don't you mean when you see Aubameyang crossing it into the 17th row behind the net on his left foot?
Well, sometimes he does get it in there, but
I know what you mean.
I don't want to see him in there waiting for crosses, man. I mean, I'm sure that's not really. Look, before his new contract, he used to get 45 grand for a goal as a goal bonus. Right? He ain't getting that if he's crossing the ball in.
Right.
It needs to be. That's the reason that he's got incentivized contract to play to his strengths. Crossing the ball is not playing to it.
Oh, I hate these. I hate it when
Harry Kane taking corners for England. What was that all about?
But what I really liked about, I think we moved to the Newcastle game now because the Crystal Palace game was just so dreadful. But what I really liked were the positions that Smith Rowe was taking. He was going out left. He was going out right. He's such an intelligent player, right? Like, I mean, this intelligence I have not seen in as much as I love Saka and Martinelli. This sort of intelligent play that he was doing, those guys did not do that. He was just picking up space. That goal that was scored, the Saka, pull back and goal, the second one. It was Smith Rowe taking up that space because he saw that before that he wasn't really involved, and it wasn't like he was heavily getting in between the lines and passing it forward, but he still wants the ball. He always wants the ball. He has that courage, and maybe it's because the crowd is not there, or maybe because he's in a rich vein of form, whatever the reason might be. But he was smart enough to take up those positions. And again, the fluid front four, that's what is required. You can't be stuck to just one formation that you don't move from here to there. Sometimes Aubameyang will go onto the right, and somebody else goes on the left. That's fine. But yeah, ESR also, hats off. Yeah, consider his game IQ to Pepe's. Pepe worth 72 million has absolutely no game IQ. No game IQ. One trick pony, no game IQ.
Does ESR actually wear shin pads? Because I don't know if some of our older viewers out there, you may remember an old player, Steve Claridge. He reminds me of Steve Claridge, always had his socks rolled down, but I don't know.
Yeah, now he's doing the Jack Grealish thing.
Yeah,
wearing any shin pads with the low socks. But no, little, tactically speaking, when we look at what it is that Arteta's trying to do, at least what it appears as though he's trying to do, he wants to gain the width from the fullbacks who are on their strong side. So Kieran Tierney's a left-footed left back, and Hector Bellerin or Cedric, they're right-footed right backs. But then it's funny because when you look at the wingers, it's the opposite. Bukayo Saka is a left-footed right winger. Aubameyang or even Gabriel Martinelli, let's not forget about him, is a right-footed left winger. So they're inverted a little bit. From that standpoint, I actually don't hate the idea simply because you give the defense something different to think about. You know what I mean? You have to plan for, either foot coming at you, albeit, from a couple of different players. And let's not forget, back during the restart of last season and now last year, none of us, I don't think, wanted Bukayo Saka on the right. Do you guys remember this?
I remember that.
When Arteta was kind of persisting with playing him on the right, and he was dog shit. He was absolute dog. And we're like, he can't play on the right. You got to put him on the left. You have to put him on the left. If he's going to play, you got to put him on the left. And then we were having the debate of, well, how does he play then? Because Aubameyang's out on the left. So now you've got to shift Aubameyang through the middle to get Saka into the game. And what's he done in the last 4 games? It's been a revelation bringing Emile Smith Rowe in to the number 10 role, if you will. I want to call it the playmaker role, because that's if I were coaching, that's what I would. My player in that position, you're my playmaker. You're the guy that's going to make things happen, and that's what Emile Smith Rowe is doing. So in that playmaker role, Bukayo Saka has just been a revelation now out on the right, hasn't he?
He's been great.
Go ahead, Stan.
I think this, what we're seeing I think it's going to be a short-term thing having Bukayo Saka on the right. In time, I have a feeling that you will see him go back over on the left. As Aubameyang's career is kind of winding down, but I think Aubameyang is going to get more time in the middle. And it's going to be interesting to see who we're going to be linked with in the summer. I think there's going to be another winger coming in. Because you think about it, he looks like he's been trying to fix a problem on the right. We had Nicolas Pepe, who's supposed to play on the right. We've got Reece Nelson coming through the academy, supposed to play on the right. He didn't seem to like either of those. He went out and brought in Willian, who's supposed to play on the right. And now he's kind of got a square peg smashed into a round hole with Bukayo Saka, who, as you say, people were saying, this guy's dog shit over there. This isn't going to work. But how do we know that? This is the reactionary that fans can be. How do we know that the day that he experimented on the right-hand side, he was having an off day? Players can have an off day, right? And if you're playing in a new position and you have an off day, maybe there's a knee-jerk reaction to say, well, that ain't working, it's dog shit. But obviously, it looks like for me that Bukayo Saka can play right, left, or centre. You know,
I mean, I'm
used to play Football Manager, and you'd have one of them players that could, under position, it would say RML. You know,
yeah.
Where you played all three, and you'd be like, "Ooh, I'll have some of that."
Or it would, under position, it would say "Gamer's Pick" because he could just play anywhere.
I think he's one of them. I think that he's not going to be stuck on the right. He can be good there, but you're going to see Saka deployed elsewhere. And like we mentioned earlier, maybe he's going to be the short-term backup at left back. And I hope it is short-term because he's going to have rest too. Yeah. Imagine we're playing games out on the right and all of a sudden Kieran Tierney gets nixed. What we're going to do, just move Saka from the right to the left. He's going to need to have rest as well. So I think it's essential that we have someone to have as backup.
You know what? So that's a good point. Let's take that a little further, but not necessarily in terms of personnel, but personnel, yeah. But a couple of matches coming up: Southampton twice, Saturday, Tuesday. So I agree 100%. I think some of these guys are going to need some time off. We're going to need some rotation here, and especially given that the following Saturday, so I think it's the 30th coming up, we get Manchester United at home, and I have to think that there's a lot of looking ahead in the fan base, but I think there might be a little looking ahead with Arteta and the players to that match. Like, boys, this is a big one, and it just has a big game feel to it. All of a sudden, they're a different team than they were when we played them at Old Trafford back in whatever it was, October or November. But so, what do you do? Ryan, I'm going to start with you because you haven't said anything in a while, and I can't believe I'm actually going to bring you back in here.
No, so I have no idea.
Can I finish the question, or you just want to just want to go?
Because I have news. Okay.
You're so excited. You're like the dogs when I walk in the house. You're just so excited. Can you throw the ball? Throw the ball. Hey, did you miss me?
News.
So you've got an FA Cup match on Saturday against Southampton at Southampton. Then you have a league match Tuesday at Southampton. I almost feel like just the way that the squad is set up, because we don't really have a lot of quality in cover, especially at left back. What do? You don't want to just give up on the FA Cup, because that could very well be your road back into European football for next year. But boy, oh boy, it just feels like there's something here. We could continue a run in the league. So put your manager cap on. Howard, I'm not asking you for a lineup. Just, briefly, how would you be deploying things for these next two matches at Southampton?
So I don't know who said. I'm pretty sure one of you guys said this last week on the podcast, or you quoted someone that said it. But the FA Cup is our cup, so you want to play the strongest team for the FA Cup, and I think that's what Arteta's going to do. I think we're the defending. I want to say it was Rohan that said this, but I could be wrong. Apologies to either one of you, Tanner and Sam, if you said this, but it's our cup, and we're the reigning champions. We want to defend said cup. So I do think we're going to go very strong. You know, and I think also too, you got to figure too. You know, we're gonna play them in the league, and they're a team that's on form. They have a good manager in Hassan Hudl. They have decent players too.
Wait. Say it again. Say it again.
Hassan Hudl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm the hyenas in the lion.
Shout out to my Cheetah Mike Hurd with the Spanish accent. I got the German accent on lock.
Mike isn't even here tonight. Mike Hurd. I'm disappointed in you.
He'll hear this.
You watch it on replay.
If you're watching the replay, you're not watching the video. I'm blowing kisses at you.
Hang on, what you said?
That's a good point. Where's Hertzy tonight? I haven't seen him in there.
Listen, he's a busy boy. He was on the Gooner Crack podcast. He had his own show a couple days ago.
That's right.
Both great watches, which you guys should both check out. And I know Gooner Crack.
And also, as well, our moderator, Gary, DWTT, has now started doing some videos on his channel. Kind of like
what kind of videos?
No, these are clean. They're post-match videos. So give him a look. Go and give him a subscribe over there. DWTT.
Absolutely. Anyway, I can't believe I'm going to say this again, but Ryan, please continue.
Thank you. I just think you got to play strong, and I think part of me, because the game is really close to each other. The games are very close to each other. I kind of want to put some fear in Southampton and kind of be like, listen, we're going to come at you strong. We're going to mess you up for this FA Cup, and then we're going to, kind of put a little fear in him and kind of thanks, Gary. Put some fear into him and, kind of get Hassan Hudl rethinking his lineup for Tuesday. And I think we have the depth to where we could beat them again on Tuesday, but I think he's going to go pretty strong. And I hate to say it, and I'm always nervous with certain players like ESR and Tierney. I think Tierney plays both games. I'd like to think even ESR plays both games too. But again, it all depends. If we're playing Southampton for 120 minutes, I don't know. Things might change. But if we put Southampton to bed in the first half or early in the second half, maybe you could make the set. You can make the changes. You could bring ESR off early. You could put Martinelli in. You could bring Lacazette off. You could bring Tierney off. So it all depends. And the reason why I wasn't engaging and I was on my phone and I was looking at shit. Apparently we're going to agree to a new long-term deal with ESR, and it looks like he's going to get a pay raise to £40,000 a week, which I read it. And I'm like, he's not making more than that. I'm confused because I'm so used to the £350,000 a week, and he's our best player and he's a maestro. But for £40,000 a week, he's getting a pay raise to that. I got excited. I got to admit, you don't want to see what's below this computer screen. I'm excited. I'm very excited. But I just think you gotta go strong. You gotta go strong on Saturday, and you have to kind of, I don't want to say dominate. I can't think of really a better word, but you kind of want to strike fear into Southampton's heart and be kind of just like, we're gonna beat you now, and then we're gonna beat you on Tuesday, and you kind of want to just make them almost second guess themselves, because I'm sure they're going to put a stronger lineup out on Tuesday. And they're going to kind of be like, yeah, Ings will probably sit. Bertrand will probably sit. I don't even know who else they have. I'm sure Theo. They'll probably sit Theo in the FA Cup, and they'll definitely start him in the league. Who knows? Maybe they'll go strong too. I don't know. But I think if they try to match us in both games, I think they're in for a rude awakening, even though they are technically, I think they're ahead of us in the standings, and I think they are playing better than us. We'll see.
Well, apparently at Arsenal, if you play a football game on a Saturday and you got another one coming up on a Tuesday, apparently you can't do that. You're not. You have to. We don't have players that are up to that. That's always been the way, right? I can't see the majority of 11 playing both of those games. I just don't see it. The fact that you used to go out on the summer holidays and play football every day from 12 o'clock till 5 o'clock, every day for 6 weeks, a peak footballer can't play these games in a row. Apparently they need to be rested and stuff like that. So, and someone put it in the chat box. I can't remember who it was, forgive me, but I was thinking the same thing. My question is, who the fuck's going in goal? Because at the minute, Leno's got to play every game, right? He's got to play.
Goalies don't need rest. What is going on? Goalies do not need rest.
That's what I'm saying, right? So, there's no way I want to see Runnison in goal for the FA Cup game. As I said it before, man throws the ball in the back of the net. You can't plan for that.
Yeah. It's wrong.
I mean, Partey's just come back from an injury. Can Partey play both games? Do you know what I mean? I think there's going to be some rotation. There has to be some rotation.
Like a Bellerin Cedric. I'm sure that'll rotate. A Partey will probably rotate.
That's a good point. I'd like to see Bellerin come in for this game, but Cedric come back for the Southampton game.
And it's I don't want to talk about this anymore just because it makes my head hurt. Like the whole Eddie thing. I think Eddie's probably going to play one of the games, you know. And I want to see Lacazette play, but I think good. Shout out to Mike in the Gooners podcast. He gave Mike Hers an alert. No, it's burped too. Hers alert. But anyways, I think Lacazette barely can play 60 minutes in one game, let alone 2 games Saturday, Tuesday. So I mean, you would think Lacazette's not gonna start both games. So,
and if you think, as you said about Eddie and Ketia, what's the deal with Balogun? Is Balogun definitely leaving us, or what? Is there any point in giving him minutes? Is it worth giving him any minutes to say, like, we like you?
Part of me thinks they still don't know, and a lot of people brought up really good points on Twitter and saying like, no, you got to earn it. Like, and perfect timing that ESR is coming into form and he's doing wonderful things for our club. Look at ESR. He didn't play. We loaned him out to Huddersfield. He was probably their player of the season. Huddersfield have nothing but good things to say about him. And now look, he got his chance. And now he's getting a pay raise. Now he's doing all these things, and now he's helping us do bigger, better things. So I think I want to say Balogun had all the leverage, but I think with ESR playing so well and kind of jumping us up and giving us that that extra, he's playing great, but he's connecting a part of the field that we haven't connected in quite some time. And I just think that they could use that to kind of their advantage and be like, look at ESR, he did his thing. We loaned him out. Look at him. He's such an important part of this team, and he's so young. And I just hope that, Balogun can kind of see the light. And I hope Balogun really wants to play for us like ESR, because ESR has came out and said, Tottenham have came in for me. Barcelona have came in for me. Liverpool have came in for me. And I go, no, I want to make it at Arsenal, so. Yeah. so hopefully, Mike Hers in the chat, everybody. Shout out to Mike Hers, my boy. I just think that, hopefully Balogun can learn from some of the younger, well, I guess in his view, older guys, that have kind of been through the same situation. But I hear his agent is not the easiest to deal with and handle. So
same agent as Eddie.
And Saka too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going up, isn't he?
So it's gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out. But honestly, I'm not even worried about Balogun, because as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't even on the bench for Newcastle. So it's.
Is there any truth that he signed a pre-contract with RB Salzburg?
I don't believe that. Oh, hold on. I want to give an alert to everybody in the chat. Mike Hers is watching The Firm. And if anybody knows Mike Hers, which you should, because you should be watching his podcast every, I don't want to say week, Mike, because you kind of do it every randomly, but the Not So Arsenal podcast, you have to be watching it right now. He said multiple times he is not a movie guy. He's never seen The Godfather. He's not. What was I don't know. There was one on his pod after the Newcastle game, or it might have been after the Newcastle game. He said he hadn't seen a really big movie. I don't remember what the movie was. It's losing me, but yeah, he hasn't watched a lot of movies. So him watching The Firm right now is
I sent that to him.
Big.
I sent that to him. That's the one from 1988 with Gary Oldman.
I kind of low-key want to start a movie podcast with you, Mike Hers. We'll talk about this later. And you guys feel free to join in. And we'll just watch Mike Hers watch all these movies that he's never seen before, that are iconic and
This is like those videos that This is like those videos that have gone viral, right? Like the colorblind person sees colors for the first time.
Exactly.
You know, Nan watches Empire Strikes Back for the first time. 68-year-old Nan or something.
Okay, so back to Balogun, you know, so Twitter, the home ground for toxicity and profits, right? Like it's either people slagging off other people or it's people trying to say that they are better than other people, right? With their arrogance, with their, overall thinking that they know better than other people. In amidst all of this, I got a very good tweet from an unlikely source, and that was from an Arse Bro actually. So I think it was Max who wrote that that Balogun should look at ESR's and Saka's rise now, and he should think that he can make it because Aubameyang is not getting any younger. Lacazette is not getting any younger, and he can make it into this team and become a household name. But if he doesn't want to do that, he can sort right off to some other team where he may or may not get the chance, but a team that will not be his own. And till the time he's not going to sign, we should not play him because we're not in the business of developing players for other clubs.
Yep.
Which I agree. Right now we have all of a sudden by picking up form, we've actually gained back that position where we can dictate terms. So that's on Balogun. That's it. As much as I would want him to play, but if he doesn't commit, then we can't just keep. He at the end of it, he's a kid, and he cannot hold Arsenal Football Club ransom. That's what it is. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Balogun situation, really. No.
Does anybody think that there's going to be any surprises in either lineup?
And also what I just remembered. So and the other conversation that was happening was about Southampton away twice, one in the FA Cup, one in the league, and Saturday and Tuesday, which used to be our regular fixture when we used to play in the Champions League. Remember those days when we used to play in the Champions League and we used to play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, and we always had to play our first 11 because there were no off days in the Champions League. But now, for some reason, our players can't play 3 games in a row or 2 games in a row, right? Like, I mean, I don't understand where this has come from. But this itself is a deterioration of your attitude as a club, really. But what is important now is that we need to give both of these things importance because all of a sudden there's a big window of opportunity. FA Cup is like we all have said, it's our cup, it's Arsenal's cup. We are the defending champions, and at the end of it, it's our most realistic silverware opportunity, and we're good at it. So we should go behind it full tilt, right? Like that is how we need to approach it. Southampton's going to make changes. We should also make a few changes, but I think the backline we've already said. Tierney should get a rest. Bellerin could come in. Centre backs we've got. Now Gabriel could come in for this game. Somebody else Murray could maybe play. In midfield, Partey could again get 50-60 minutes maybe. Beside him and Adelani could play. Ahead, maybe an Eddie or someone could play, and Martinelli could get a chance for some time. Mix up the squad, whatever, right? You've got to do that. Pepe can play, right? That's enough quality to beat Southampton because the window of opportunity is not just to win this knockout tie against Southampton, But by a miracle, we are just 2 points behind. Relegation threatened Arsenal are 2 points behind title contenders.
I was
Chelsea.
just gonna say that. So much thunder, man. Yeah,
Contenders, Chelsea,
crazy, right?
2 points behind them. Same number of matches played. Who would have thought that? And if we think about it, who's going to finish in the Champions League? We say it's going to be City, it's going to be Liverpool, it's going to be United, and okay, last year's Champions League. So City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, right? Chelsea is just
Chelsea lost tonight. They lost today.
Yeah, exactly. They lost today, so they played the same number of games as us, and they're 2 points ahead of us. That's it, right? Tottenham are just 6 points ahead of us. Tottenham are 6 points ahead of us, and Liverpool are 7 points ahead of us. But Tottenham and Liverpool play each other in the next game. Tottenham and Liverpool are supposed to play each other, so one of them are going to drop points there. One or both of them.
Will be a 0-0 draw, and you'll be wishing that my rule was in play.
Exactly, right? So so there's a big window of opportunity. I am pretty sure we have to play Manchester United at the end of the month. They're 10 points ahead of us. We win that game, we bring it down to 7, right? Like, there is, all of a sudden, call me crazy, but out of nowhere, there's a big opportunity for us, not just to get into the Europa League, but also possibly very slim. Could it happen? Who knows? It could happen. It could happen, guys. The kids could pull us there. We could go back into the Champions League if the kids continue to perform. And there is an opportunity now. All of a sudden, we can't blow this. And it starts again with Southampton.
So I have a quick question for everybody real quick. Do you guys want to play 2 strong teams and just say fuck it and risk it? Or do you think we should worry about the league?
We have wasted this whole season. We have 8 defeats now. We need to play strong teams. We need to rack up the wins.
But even for FA, so you want to play strong in FA, you want to play strong in the league too? Yeah? Okay. Stan, you feel the same way?
I want the 3 points in the league. I really want the 3 points in the league. And I think it's always a bit dodgy when you're playing the same team so closely. It doesn't mean if whoever wins in the first game is automatically winning in the next game. It don't work like that. There's so many things that you can change around. So would I want to play Thomas Partey in both games? I don't want to. I'd like to, but I don't want him to break down in that second game and have to come off with a niggle that keeps him out for maybe a game or 2.
Yeah, that's fair. Tanner, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually going to second what Stan said. I want the 3 points in the league. If I have to pick one, I want the 3 points in the league. But you know what? This is where I really think Arteta is going to earn his money in these next 2 games. Well, the next 3 games really, because it's going to be about making substitutions not only for the sake of rotation and things like that, but also trying to save injury in Thomas Partey. Does he, maybe he doesn't start on Saturday. Maybe he comes in and plays the last 30 minutes and can be an impact sub in that way if need be. But then come Tuesday, he starts and maybe he plays a full 90 over the course of the 2 games. Then we get 4 days off, 5 days off. And then he comes in and you really look at the Manchester United game to say, this is where I really need you to play a full 90. So Arteta is going to really earn his money here based on the lineups that he puts out and the way that he utilizes his substitutes. Because it's 5 subs in the FA Cup, right? It's not 3. It's 5 in the FA Cup. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that you really can. I'd almost line up on Saturday in the FA Cup to go out and try to put it on him in the first half. Just go out in the first half, put the thing out of reach so that we can utilize the 5 subs in the second half. and get 5 important guys some rest in the second half and make sure they're ready to go full bore on Tuesday for the full 90. So, but yeah, Ryan, you got to put out a strong team in both. It's all going to come down to how Arteta uses his subs. So that's.
I think we might learn quite a lot about Mikel Arteta, especially as a way that not only are the games so close together, you're playing the same club, so it's going to be interesting to see how, you know what I mean, what his mindset is. Does he put out as strong a team as he can and on at the weekend, and then try to put out that same team again on Tuesday, but those that can't play, just change them? Or do you completely think, okay, let's give other people some minutes, let's see what they can do, let's give them a bit of time? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I just to that point, I really think that there needs to be, I think you'll understand what I say when I say this, but there needs to be almost rotation in the rotation. I almost think you need to look at you almost need to look at this as playing 180 minutes worth of football, and how can I maximize the rest, but maximize the time between the players that I want playing, you know? So Hector Bellerin, Cedric, Tierney, those 3 guys they're all going to see game time. And I dare it's out of the 180, they're all going to see significant game time. Kieran Tierney's probably going to play all 180 of it. Danny Ceballos, Joe Willock, obviously Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka, Emile Smith Rowe. There's going to be rotation throughout the midfield.
It'll be interesting to see what he does with a person like Gabriel.
Yeah, I mean, yep. I mean, you've got David Luiz, you've got Rob Holding, you've got Gabriel, or were you talking about Martinelli?
I'm talking about a defender.
Yeah. So, you know, do we get Pablo Mari back? You know, because getting Pablo Mari back, if he were able to go, boy, that would be huge, because you could theoretically start 2 different pairings in each game. I don't know that you'd want to do that, but you theoretically could. So,
I want to ask you guys a question. I kind of touched on it earlier, and I've not asked you guys. What are your thoughts on people sort of like making a case for playing Gabriel and Pablo Mari together in a back 4? For me, they're both good players. But for me, if I'm going to have a traditional back 4, I want a left-footed left centre back, and I want a right-footed right centre back. And I know that people will say, well, how many times have you seen 2 right-footed players playing? That's only because the club couldn't find a good left one, usually. You know what I mean? And whoever is playing on the right of the left, you know, in the left position, is kind of making a slight sacrifice, because their passing lanes, their passing lines would be better if they were in their natural position. I just wondered what you guys thought.
I mean,
storming a teacup and it doesn't matter.
I mean, it does matter, but I think what it comes down to is, who do you trust the most? You know, I think you have to, because I think looking at it and saying, okay, well, I want a left-footed left center back and a right-footed right center back. That's a luxury. I think that's a luxury, and it's a luxury that, to a degree, we kind of have. We have two left-footed center backs who can. I mean, Pablo Mari has shown he can hold his own. Gabriel he has 4 man of the matches, man of the match awards under his belt. You know, I say what you will about David Luiz. Don't like him. Wish I had somebody better, but he's a warm body. And fact is, we could do worse. We could do worse than David Luiz. So, but that said, I think you go with the best players. And if they both happen to be left-footed, so be it. If they both happen to be right-footed, so be it. They and the players that are playing with them have to make whatever adjustments are necessary to be successful. So, anybody else?
Yeah, I think Mari and Gabriel would be a really good shot for Saturday. I think seeing them play in the FA Cup would be good. Kind of like answering the question I asked you guys. I didn't really answer it, but I kind of agree with everyone with what everybody is saying. I'm not. I get it with a reigning champions of the FA Cup, but to me, like the focus and the rebuild and everything is just, to me, it's just all for the league to get us in the Champions League and I think, winning the FA Cup is nice, but, we won the FA Cup last year, and then what? We were shambles in the season, and then everyone wanted Arteta's head. So to me, winning the FA Cup would be, it'd be a cool bonus, but I'm not interested in that. I think the league, to me, holds more precedence, and I think the league is more important. And I think the FA Cup is where we could, not saying Frankenstein it and totally experiment, but, playing like a Mari Gabriel, I don't think is a crazy thing. I think doing it on Saturday wouldn't be a terrible idea. And, to all the people in the chat talking about, Mark McGuinness, I think Mark McGuinness is a great player. I think he will probably be a future Arsenal player, and he'll get a lot of first team action. But, he's doing really good at Ipswich in League One. It's not
everything in perspective.
It's not the same thing. He had a great game for us.
Over again, all right? That Christian Balick that everybody wanted in.
Yeah. Who he got man of the match the other night too. I don't even know who he plays for anymore. But
not at Forest.
I think he went on loan to Nottingham Forest or Derby. I whatever. I don't know.
An Arsenal player though, right? We sold him, right?
Yeah, we sold him. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think Mark McGuinness is going to be a great player for us. He did great for us in the preseason against MK Dons. He's someone that I've watched also too in the U23. I think he's going to be a fantastic. Him and Ballard, I think, are going to be fantastic players for us if we don't get a nice profit and sell them, which I wouldn't hate either. But again, you gotta sometimes you gotta look at perspective and be like, okay, I see what they're doing. You almost keep your peripherals on them. Be like, okay, in the future, I see what you're doing. But for right now, I think we should just kind of focus on who we have. And I think to me, Gabriel, Maury, and Holding are just all three of them are playing really well. And I think you kind of interchange them. And obviously, you want to throw in Luis in there because he's going to play. Whether we like it or not, he'll play. So it's just a matter of how Arteta can manage it. Because, like I said, I really do want to see Mari and Gabriel get some game time. I'm curious how that would work. Because I think Holding's – this is going to be crazy, and everyone's probably going to go crazy on me, but I think Holding's our best center back this season. But I want to see how Mari and Gabriel work. So I think we should give that a chance.
I'm actually flabbergasted because I find myself in total agreement with Big Mike off of the Gooner podcast, who says that you don't play Mari at right centre back over an informed.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of went back and forth because I like I said, I think Holding's our best centre back this season. I'm not, but I don't know. I'm curious. I guess curiosity. When you're driving past a car crash, you're like, we don't know what's in there, but you got to just look over. You got to stare a little bit, you got to stare just a little bit. I'm curious. I want to just go back to
it. I want to settle into a 4 now. I really do. That's just me.
Yeah, we have to play a back 4 now. No more topic of changing. We finally got into our preferred formation, and we have to now stick with it, right? Like Holding has really got into form, so he has to play. Maybe he can get a rest in one of them, and that's where the basis of this question is really, because Mari has had a rest for a couple of games or whatever. He had a tight calf or something like that, and Gabriel has been eased in, so both of them are available. So the question is whether we should play both of them or not. And while we were talking, I was just confirming what I already knew. Let's think about 2 great, centre-back pairings over the last 15 years in the Premier League, right? Who have been the 2 best centre-back pairings in the Premier League. In my opinion, they've been Ferdinand and Vidic, and they've been John Terry and Carvalho, right? All 4 of them right-footed.
All 4 of them exceptional. You know what I mean? That's the thing. If you get the 2 players and they're right up there, then doesn't matter, right? You're laughing, but I don't think that we're quite we're quite in that
Sure.
realm yet. Do you know what I mean? So we shouldn't be. I just worry that we could be too cute by playing two left-footed centre backs. Just me.
See,
again, remember, I'm the guy that wants two forwards up front. So maybe I'm not the best person to listen to.
Hey, wait, Stan. It's still not as crazy as me wanting Bellerin to play in the midfield, right?
Well, actually, over the last few weeks, he's basically been playing there, isn't he?
That's what I was trying to say. Sorry, Rowan. Go ahead, finish up.
I think I said this before, right? Like, you want your centre backs to be ball playing. There's a difference between these four that we've named there and the players that we want to play with now, because earlier it wasn't in fashion to play it out from the back, so the centre backs didn't have that sort of a role where they had to pass it as much, because the central midfielder, be it Paul Scholes for Manchester United, or Lampard or someone from Chelsea, or not Lampard, it might be Michael Essien or someone who would drop deep and get the ball for their respective teams. You want for our team, for our centre backs to play the ball forward, right? And I do understand that. But mostly what I want is our centre backs to play safe passes. I don't want them to make, I don't want them to try to become Kevin De Bruyne, where they try to thread eye of the needle passes. And the passes that I want them to make, they should be able to make with either foot. Otherwise, they should only get half of the wages that they get, because then they can play with only one foot, right? So
we should implement that with Nicola Pepe then as well.
Pepe, we have to look for the receipt.
Seriously,
that's where we are at.
I mean, just to answer, Lone Star says, like, what's wrong with left feet, Stan? All I'm going to say is the phrase is like having two left feet for a reason. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
See, I think as well as Holding is playing right now, the little bit that I have seen of Gabriel and of Murray, I feel like they're potentially better players. That's maybe just me, and Ryan would probably not agree with me, and that's fine. I hope that Holding turns out to be Holdini, he becomes like that. But yeah, Holdinho. So and Zlatan is playing with his son. So I hope all of that happens, but maybe not. And I feel like if Murray and Gabriel are our two best centre backs, then we should play them. Our best centre back pairing of the Emirates era, I think, was Koscielny and Mertesacker, right? Like, both of them were right-footed. Not very good, but they were the best that we had, and they were both right-footed, right? So why not? You got to play what you have. If these are the best players, you play them.
Yep.
But which brings me to one thing, and that drove me mad. Sorry, this is going to be my last contribution. I don't know why we didn't do this in the in the Crystal Palace game. There are so many times that we have our centre back has the ball. There's a clear passing path to directly a striker, and there's two people next to them. There's an opportunity to pass on a straight line to the striker, and for the striker to to shift the ball on the left or the right, and somebody making a run can take the ball forward. This is a very easy FIFA tactic, and I know that this is not FIFA, but there is an opportunity to play that sort of a game. You sometimes need to just bypass the midfield, but we try to do that. When we try to bypass that midfield, it's always a long ball from Luis that we try to. Why don't we ever try to play a ball straight to Lacazette, who could control the ball or who could shift it left or right, and we could conjure up an opportunity because Lacazette is dropping deep, but we never try that. Notice that in the next game, there's going to be opportunities where there's going to be a clear passing line directly on the floor to Lacazette, and they're not going to make that pass. And if they're not going to make that pass, that is the pass for which you need your stronger foot. But what's the point if they're never going to try that pass?
Yeah. Ryan, any? I think that's it. We pretty much we're at 2 hours here. So, Ryan, anything else? Final thought for the show this week?
Final thought.
I don't know. I really have a final thought. I just, I hope that we can continue our good run of form. I hope that our players that we need to stay healthy can stay healthy. Because, like we talked about, there are teams that are title contenders that are constantly dropping points, and the relegation threatened, right? The relegation threatened. English is not my first language, I promise. The relegation threatened.
You're right.
Arsenal can, hopefully scrounge a couple, I don't even know what I was saying because I'm too busy focusing on my English. But yeah, I just want to see 3 points. I want to see nobody get hurt. And, I'm not looking really for any signings in this window. I really hope we could sell a few more. I know people said, oh, if we sell Socrates, then the window is great. I don't think so. I want to sell Socrates and at least 1 or 2 more. And then I'll be happy. I just think we have a lot of work to do, and our squad is still bloated. And I do think we need to give some of these young players a chance that really haven't even sniffed the first team. Well, I shouldn't say that. Someone like a Aziz or I can't say his name, Sidran. I don't even know. The little kid with the big ears. I don't know. But yeah, I think he's a good player too. And I want them to get,
Dumbo.
Yeah, I wouldn't go far as say Dumbo, but I just want us to see us get rid of I guess you could say the old Arsenal, because I see us slowly building toward that new Arsenal. And I like what I see so far.
Stan?
My final word is basically to London Lone Star, and that is, look, I've not been out of London that long that I've forgotten all rhyming slang. So to answer your question, no, I am not a left footer.
Oh my God. We're going to talk about this here in about 10 minutes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Stan.
No, I am not a screaming left footer London Lone Star. That's my final word.
All right, listen. So there's 58 of you in here right now, and I would be absolutely gassed if you guys would hop over to my channel. If you're not already there, Lone Star Londoner, I know you're watching from my channel. For those that aren't, search Bearded Gooner and YouTube. It's there. I would be absolutely gassed if you guys would join us here in about 3 to 5 minutes for the After Dark show. Who knows what's going to come up. I actually know one thing that's going to come up. Ryan, get your head out of the gutter. But for the life of me, I cannot remember what I was watching. Oh, I do remember what I was watching. It's Ted Lasso. Stan, we'll talk about it in a few minutes, but it has to do with all the rhyming and shit.
I didn't see the show.
I won't give anything away. Don't worry.
We'll talk about that on the next thing, then, over the channel.
Yeah. So please, all of you that are still here, hop over to my channel, please. I have pasted the link in a comment before, but I'll tell you what, I will paste it one more time for you, I will paste it. Then you copy and paste it into your address bar. And we'll see you over there. I want to thank, for those that aren't going to join us.
Basically, come over and watch the 4 of us wash our dirty laundry in public in the afternoon.
Exactly. Yes. Stan's cat might get a word in. You already saw the puppy. Who knows? She might say something. For all I know, Ryan's going to show up topless. He still has his shirt on.
I do need to take this Ozil jersey off. So yeah,
so if you have a thing for hairy bearded dudes,
I'm actually not that hairy.
No,
not underneath.
Because you looked at when you pulled your shirt down. You kind of
I got some hair on my chest, but I'm not a hairy guy.
Anyway, thanks to the 3 of these guys. Thank you everybody in the chat. Stan, shout out the 12th man for me real quick. That's your thing. I don't want to.
Yeah, big shout out to the 12th man in the chat box for coming in. Football Brownie, DWTT running the thing. Stephen Harrington, Mike Hertz, Mike from the Gooners Pod. Who else have I missed out? Richard Francis. All of you that come in here every week, the 12th man. Thank you very much for keeping us relevant.
Absolutely. So jump on over to my show or over to my channel. That's where the After Dark party commences. And we'll see you over there, guys. In about 3 to 5 minutes, we're going to smoke them if we got them. So good footy talk, everybody. We'll see you out there.